Hi there, this is Sarah Davis-Eisenman, and this is my first ever webcast for my new Facebook page on the topics of energy healing, nutrition, motherhood, and parenting, and lots of other topics that are important to me. And I'm so excited that you are here with me in this moment, connecting, so thank you very, very much for tuning in. I wanted to address today the topic of, just very briefly, an introduction to the topic of energy healing. A lot of people have asked me what exactly is energy healing. Some people come from different backgrounds and have different notions of what all might be involved. So quickly, a little bit about myself. I am a practitioner of energy healing and Reiki. I use multiple modalities, Reiki, shamanism, and a few others mixed in there. And the way that energy healing sort of works is that, first of all, it supposes, it's sort of founded on the idea that our life force is an energetic force. So far from being just physical beings, we have or you could even just think of it in terms of physics if you want to. We have an energy that flows through us, which is part of, it is our makeup. It's what makes us alive. And this energy force has a structure, and it's also connected to the energy of everything else. It's interconnected to other living beings, all living beings, and also interconnected with kind of the consciousness of the universe itself, if you want to take it even a little bit farther. So what I do in my work is I use that as a foundation, that idea as a foundation, to work with people's energy when they're experiencing a physical condition or an emotional condition or psychological or spiritual, and many times they're all intertwined. So typically what happens if you get sick, you may go to a doctor, go to a practicing Western doctor, and what they'll do is they'll give you some medication that might do one of two things, or give you a medical treatment that it's usually one of two different mechanisms of action. And the first one will be something along the lines of symptom suppression. So if you go in and you say, "Doctor, I have a headache," a really, really bad headache, they might give you a painkiller. The painkiller will go into your system, and it's not actually addressing the root cause of why you have a headache, but it will oftentimes alleviate that symptom for you by putting a chemical into your body that acts with your cell receptors in a certain way to suppress the symptom. And in some cases, it may address the root a little bit, but in many times, or in most cases, it doesn't address it at all. The other typical mode of healing that you'll receive if you go to a practicing Western doctor will be to actually kill whatever the perceived cause is of your condition. So if you go in with a bacterial infection, they're going to give you antibiotics. Antibiotics are going to go in and they're going to kill the bacteria that have caused this. When in many cases this is a very good thing. Same with chemotherapy. It goes in and it kills cancer cells. And it's not only killing cancer cells, it's killing a lot of different, in cases of both antibiotics and chemotherapy, it's doing a lot of other stuff to the body too, which then the body has to work with and recover from. But there are times when, we are so blessed to have this technology of Western medicine and what it can offer us, and when it's truly a blessing. But there's also this notion that, whatever the root of the disease is, it may not just be caused by a particular bacteria getting into your system. It sort of has to do with what the system as a whole is up to. And I think of it as sort of like an ecosystem, like multiple players, different types of bacteria, different types of cells, and processes going on. If there's a high level of dissonance in the system, then it's a condition that's going to let, bacteria get in and wreak havoc, that sort of a thing. So looking at it from a systemic point of view is very much what energy healing is about. And as I mentioned, it works on the notion that energy healing is that everybody has this energy force that is part of your makeup. It's what makes you alive, and it's what connects you to everything else. And it has a structure. So the structure can be compromised in various ways. In the case of Reiki, what you're actually doing is channeling this universal energy through your system. Me as the practitioner of Reiki, I'm asking to become a conduit or a sort of pipeline for this energy, this pure energy. So the first part of it for me is to absolutely clear my mind and clear out space in my heart and the rest of my being for this energy to come through in a way that's going to benefit someone else. And I think that's pretty important. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm actually sort of parting the ego, parting the dialogue, the extra stuff that's running around in my head, and asking to clear that to become a good conduit for energy. So once I can feel that going through, then I'm actually putting my hands physically on the person who's come to me in different areas, and I'm actually just channeling that energy right into their energy force. So I'm bolstering it, and I'm working with their life force and with their energy force to strengthen it. And I'm addressing, the energy is addressing. I actually am kind of more trying to step out of the way and let the energy do its work, but the energy is addressing places in the energetic field that may be compromised for any reason. So what can happen, if you think of the energy flowing through our bodies like a river, the river can get dammed in certain places. You can build up areas of stagnation or blocks, and that can keep the energy from going through cleanly. It happens to everybody, I think, in our society at some point or another, because there's so much information and so much going through our heads on any given day. We're all very busy, and there's a lot of extraneous, I think, activity that builds up in our systems. So the way that Reiki will work is, if you imagine it like a river, you're actually just continuously running pure, clean, flowing energy through the system and breaking up those dams and allowing the blocks to flow again, releasing the energy and allowing it to flow. It's a little bit different than saying, I'm going to go in and kill the invading whatever it is that's causing the condition, and it's a little different than saying, I'm just going to mask this condition by making people feel better, even though they may not really be better. So it's a little bit of a different approach there. So I'm actually putting my hands on people physically and letting them letting their life force be attended to and reinforced and acknowledged by the energy that I'm running. And as far as stagnation goes, stagnant energy, there's all kinds of different scenarios that can arise there. But I'm trying to think of a really good, quick example that I can give. When I first started doing energy work, this is kind of interesting. When I first started doing Reiki, I was doing a lot of self-healing, because what happens when you take on the task, the role, the responsibility of doing this work is that you have to do a lot of purification of your own system to become that conduit or that channel that I'm talking about. And that happened to me. So I had gone through a lot of energy work and thought that I was pretty well into this process, and I was ready to go out and do Reiki for others. But when I started doing Reiki for other people, I actually developed a very painful cyst on my tailbone, which just sort of appeared out of the clear blue sky, but we know nothing really ever does just appear out of the clear blue sky. There's energy that's invested in all of these conditions. So I had to take a good hard look at what on earth is going on here. I couldn't sit down. It was very painful. I went to the doctor and they gave me antibiotics and they said they're gonna have to operate on it to remove it. And I looked into the procedure. I was very nervous about the details of it. So I decided I was going to undertake a process of self-healing using Reiki and using energy work and grounding work to release whatever had caused this. And I went into my kind of the state that I operate in when I'm doing the energy work, which is that clear state where I'm kind of parting the waters of my mind and allowing the clean energy to run through. And it's a receptive state, so you get a lot of information in that state, which is really useful. I went into that state and I found out that there was a problem with grounding, that I had a problem with actually physically being rooted and secure with being here on this earth because of various things that had happened to me in my own life. So what it was telling me, it was like this stagnant energy at my tailbone, and it was basically telling me that as a conduit, I wasn't fully functioning yet, that there was a block there at my tailbone area, my root chakra, that was not allowing the energy to go through clearly. And it was letting me know that I wasn't ready to go out and start healing, working on other people and doing this healing work for other people yet until I could really address that. So I took it really seriously, and I started doing a program of purification, catharsis. I started doing a lot of meditations where I was sitting with my legs crisscrossed and just visualizing the energy metabolizing, through my the base of my spine into the earth, doing this outside, actually sitting on the grass, and just allowing the energy to go deeper into the earth and feeling the earth's energy in return coming to support me from below, and realizing how deeply we all need that support from this earth that we are a part of, and that I just hadn't really gone there yet. I really hadn't experienced that to the degree I needed to. So when I started doing that work, it, you could call it miraculous. It dissolved the cyst on my tailbone completely. I did not have to have surgery. I did not have to do any extreme medical procedures. I continued to use some herbal support and nutritional support just to boost my immune system, to give myself that extra level of protection. But at the end of the day, I did not need to have this really strong, aggressive medical intervention, because I was able to listen to the intelligence of what was being presented to me, and I was able to use this energy work to address that problem, to truly acknowledge it, instead of trying to say, oh, this is something I need to cut out of my body with a knife and throw it away and never really look at it and pretend it never really happened maybe in the first place. I actually got a chance to look at it and examine it and listen to it. And there was this really deep acknowledgement of the emotional component, the spiritual component, the physical component. There was this really great opportunity to converse with my energy, and then to have this universal energy that is part of Reiki come and just purify and cleanse my system. So this is energy healing. This is the work, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I just did because it has been so profoundly important to my own life, and I think that anybody can do this at home. You can start this process even if you don't do Reiki and you're not a trained, Reiki professional yet. You may decide down the road to become that. But you can still listen. Take that time to listen to what's happening with your own body, and you can still tune into the energy that is operating there. Because anytime you have a physical condition, a spiritual condition, an emotional, a psychological condition, there is a root, there's an energetic root to that condition that is driving it, that is that's invested in it. You can think of it as like a knot, like if you had a string, when you tie it in a knot, it's just a string, right? But now it has this knot in it. And I think of disease states or life problems as being kind of that knot. They're part of the string. You don't want to just go in and cut them out because you've just taken out part of your string and left some fragmentation in the process. But if you listen to it and you work with it, you'll find out what the story is there, and it'll start to unravel, and it'll start to straighten, and it'll start to flow, and it'll start to tell you how to return to the state of grace and radiance that is truly your right as a human being on this earth. So the first part of that, if you were to do that at home, would be for me to each person would need to kind of go within themselves and find a way to part the waters of the mind. I'm kind of thinking of it that way now, to clear out the debris that is in our heads, all of us, because we're so busy and we're so information-based at this juncture of our society. So, different ways to do that. You could just use a hot shower, just a really nice long hot shower. And before you step in the shower, say, I ask that this shower cleanse not only my body, but my mind and my spirit and my energy. There's so many different ways to approach that. There's so many different types of meditation, just physical exercise, gardening, whatever works for you to get you in that place where you can listen, because it's about listening. And the listening portion of our show is the trickiest part. It's the part that takes a little bit of, well, first you have to be quiet, don't you? You have to be still. But then it takes a little bit of listening, not just with your ears, obviously, or your senses, but with your heart, with your whole self. And it's a new skill for a lot of people, but it's one worth building. So if you can get yourself to that quiet state, then you can ask whatever part of yourself you feel needs some healing or needs some love or attention or any life problem, anxiety, depression, a relationship that's not working out, whatever it is. You can go in and you can say to that thing, just address it straight on and say, what do you need from me? What do you have to tell me? What do you have to teach me? And instead of trying to reject that thing or say, oh, I just wish that wasn't a part of my life, to honor that it's there, to acknowledge its presence, and to ask it, how can I help you? How can we heal? What do you need? And just now that you've quieted your mind, you can close your eyes and you can actually just kind of watch. Here, I think of this as being like a screen, like a TV screen, the mind screen. You can look there and you can see what arises, what story might be there. Or you can place your hands on whatever part of yourself that it is. If you have arthritis, you could put your hands wherever you're feeling it. You can just do this with your hands if it is your hands. And you can just offer some love to that part of your body. Just offer pure love, not judgment, not a wish to destroy that thing or a wish that it wasn't there, or don't look at it in terms of positive and negative, but just offer some love there and offer to listen. Even just listen with your hands. You can receive energy and information in your hands too. So if you touch that part of yourself, your heart, wherever it might be, and you let that part talk to your hands and tell you the story, or let the energy move. It's amazing what this approach can really do. It's I think it's something that everybody should be taught from the time that we're small children, actually, because it's so empowering and so powerful and so magical and so much a part of who we are, I believe, as humans, that it's something everyone should really try. But if you're curious about this and you feel like you'd like some guidance too, you can also visit, a really well-qualified energy practitioner who has been doing this a while, and you can benefit from their expertise and their training and their support, and or even just have a treatment with them and feel it. And once you feel it, then a lot of people oh, okay, now I get it. I get what this is all about, because it is an experiential thing. It's not something that's so easy to convey via this conversation or in a book. It's possible to do that, I think, but it's much more powerful if it's experienced. So that is what I do. That is energy healing. And I don't think of myself as a healer. I think of myself as a practitioner of healing, because the healing comes through me. It comes from at the source of universal energy, the source of that we're all connected to, the consciousness of, you can think of it as the creator, you can think of it as the universe, you can think of it as the way our neurons happen to fire, if that is preferential to you. Whatever framework you'd like to use, the energy doesn't really come from any one person's will, let's say. It comes from some other source, just a tiny bit more mysterious. But please feel free at any point to comment on this. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your questions. I'd love to get a dialogue started on this topic and just have it continuously flow. And yeah, that's about it. And you can always contact me too. I have a website called thelightwithinreiki.com. And please visit me there. And I also do distance treatments. I kind of talked about putting my hands on folks and using Reiki that way. You can also use it at a distance. It's a little bit different of a process, but it's also very, very powerful. So I hope some of this resonates with you out there today, and I'm very, very grateful to you all. If you've made it to the end of this, I'm even more grateful. Thank you so much, and have a blessed day.